We'll see you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BCM Podcast. I am your host, Michael Searle. I'm here with, he's still crushing French fries as we're getting on. Yeah, his mouth is full of food. Still.
Hello.
Are you going for the poutine?
Nope.
Yeah, he's just packing some calories before we get started here.
Now your microphone is way too loud.
He's got to be in tip-top shape.
Either too close or it's too loud. One of the two. But go on, Michael. I'm sorry.
He's got to be in tip-top shape. Is that better?
I think so.
Okay.
I think the microphone is perfect.
Shut up. Would you get the food out of your mouth, please, before you talk to me? Go back to drinking your twisted tea.
This is a great start to the show so far.
You
Mr.
didn't
Swail.
even intro me yet, but go on.
Well, it's because I was so quickly interrupted about my mic volume. Brad is here, as you can see, with his best friend and his slogan behind him.
Joy.
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 That's
We are
what
all
he's all
joy.
about. Joy. How does he find his joy?
Shooting his friends in the face.
Old Dick Cheney. Does it have to be friends or can it just be strangers in the Middle East? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Either way, so long as people are dying, am I right?
So as long as people are getting shot.
Yep.
Well, today is a very special day because this is our 52nd episode. And for those of us who can't do math, there are 52 weeks in a year. So this is 1 year of the BCM podcast.
Uno años.
Uno años. Shut up, Charles.
Or,
So we're going to,
I mean, you're not in your home studio, Charles. Where are you?
I am at my parents' house in South Carolina.
What's that picture behind you?
I don't. Which one?
The one, I think it's got a, I mean, it's right, maybe your left shoulder. What is that? Are you trying to show off?
Oh, that's my mom.
Okay, stop it. All right. Sorry to interrupt, Michael. Please go on. It is our
That's
52nd.
okay.
It's 1 year anniversary. Look at that, guys. Way to go.
Way to go.
Congratulations.
1 whole year. And so we're going to do a couple things differently. We're going to have a little giveaway, a little special guest at the end of the show. It's going to be fun, as well as the great topics that we are going to talk about, which are Diddy. Got to talk about Diddy and his friends. Covering the aftermath of Hurricane Melton. That's a little more somber than the Diddy conversation.
Melton or Milton?
Milton.
You
Did I
said
say
Melton.
Melton?
You did say
Well,
Melton.
He
Sometimes
said
I
Miller.
sometimes I misspeak. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris on her recent press tour, and then contrast that to Trump's recent interview with Andrew Schultz on the Flagrant podcast. I don't know if you guys got to check that out, but I watched it yesterday. It's
Who's
pretty darn
Andrew?
good.
Who's Andrew Schultz? Charles Blain. One, put your full name and Twitter handle in your, in the name thing there.
This is supposed to be our anniversary episode, and Brad's being nothing but mean to everybody. But
Hey,
what's
I'm just
new?
trying
We're going to start calling him Mama Swail.
Can you?
Mama
Yeah.
Swail.
There we go. Thank you. I also have, I'm trying to do a list every week, guys. And you're talking about Kamala Harris's press tour. I got the top 3 press,
Yeah.
I don't know, top 3 Kamala moments of the week.
Kamala.
Kamala.
That's would be hard to compile because there's quite a few to choose from.
Well,
I have some as well, but I'll turn that over to you when the time comes. And then last, we're going to have Texas State Representative Lacey Hull on to talk about the Robert Robertson case, but also the Menendez brother case and just the death penalty in general.
Well,
And
I
so
don't
she'll
know.
be joining us
Yes.
at 12:45.
Yep.
Charles, that's correct.
35 minutes. And if there, I see that there are some live listeners. Chime in the comments. Tell Charles why he's wrong.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Tell
Yes.
Charles why he's wrong and call Brad Mama Swail.
I
Let's
just defended
get
you over
this-
your microphone, Michael. So don't.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay. First things first. So the first 5 listeners who post this show with a link to the show on their X account and tell their friends and followers to listen to it, get a new BCM hat.
Free hat.
Free hat. I'm going to show it.
Are you
here in
going to
just
show
a
it?
second? I am.
It's going to take a minute.
It's going to.
But I promise it's a good hat.
It's going to be
free.
worth it.
It's free.
black.
All you have
We're
to
going
do.
to give it away.
Oh, look
Can you
at
guys
that.
see that?
Yeah, we
It's beautiful. It has our logo on the front, on the side, although I'm not going to show that right now. It says Knuckleheads in Tim, because we were big fans of Tim Walls here. And so first five people to post that will get a free hat. We'll send it to you.
There we go.
And it looks like it's really good quality. It seems like it's a great hat. So
Have you ever sold anything in your life, Charles? It looks like it's really good quality.
Yes, actually I was in sales for a bit. Thank you.
For a bit. That's the key point.
Well,
All right.
I was so good that I left because there was nothing left to sell.
So post it, tag us at the BCM podcast _ on the Twitters or the X's, whatever you call it, and we'll send you a free hat.
You have to give Charles your mailing address. I don't know if you want to do that, but
But you'll get the hat. It's great, especially in this time of year.
okay,
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on. Okay, Diddy. So Tony Busby, who's a friend of Charles Blain and a lawyer from Houston, Texas, he has this
Shut up, Charles.
I wouldn't say friends. I would say we're acquaintances. I know.
Yeah. He's a lawyer for 120 alleged victims of Diddy. And he said that he's going to name some other people and that those people some of them are as famous as Diddy. Jaguar Wright went on to Piers Morgan's show and she named some names, specific names.
Can you tell me, you sent this to us, who is Jaguar Wright?
She's a rap artist.
Is that what we call them? Rap artists?
Yeah.
Rapper.
I mean, wouldn't you just say rapper?
Rapper.
You sound very white when you say rap artist.
Have you looked at me? I am very white.
Yeah, but you don't need to be so white. You know what I mean? Right, Charles?
No.
God damn it.
Okay, so
You
Jaguar.
you have the same complexion. I'm noticing in this thing, but go ahead.
So Jaguar Wright goes on Piers Morgan show and she starts laying it down. She's calling out all sorts of names. And Piers Morgan opens his next show with an apology and saying, if any defamation happened on my show, I apologize for it. I've heard from some lawyers. So my first question is to Charles, is Diddy going to take down Jay-Z with him?
Okay, so let's be serious. Jay-Z's not involved in any of this. And because why would he be? Give me one reason.
Well, okay, hold on, stop. I'm not saying before Jay-Z's lawyers call us and we have to start our
They're
next
not
show.
calling me.
We are not saying that Jay-Z is involved. I'm just asking why, in your mind, that's an impossibility. He often does
That.
the all-seeing eye.
And that means what?
It doesn't mean anything, Charles. I'm just joshing with you a little bit. I'm just curious why, in your mind, it's just a absolutely not 0, 100, cannot possibly be involved.
Diddy and Jay-Z are two different people in the sense that, look at I practice realistically, of course, but also when we're talking about just kind of who they are in the trajectory of their careers. Jay-Z is a family man who has put his career aside to support his wife and his kids as they go on and do endeavors all over the place, doing everything, obviously, from music and whatever else they're into. P. Diddy has often lived and has long lived that kind of playboy, party boy lifestyle and has never seemingly changed from that. That's always been his brand. Jay-Z, that hasn't been his brand since like the 90s, maybe early 2000s.
What hasn't been?
They were never that. They had some songs together, they collaborated, this, that, the other, but they're not the same person. There's no reason to believe that Jay-Z would have anything to do with anything and even remotely involved in this.
Except for that Jaguar Wright, who has been talking about these Diddy allegations for almost a decade, screaming from the top of her mountain, saying, this is what Diddy's been doing. He's been diddling little boys and little girls, date raping people. She's been saying it. She was right. She alleges that Jay-Z was involved. So why is she lying to get the attention? But she wasn't lying about all the other stuff. Charles, so if she's vindicated,
are right 2 times a day, right?
Hold on, Charles. I just need to preface this question, right? Michael makes a good point. Are you calling her a liar? And I want to ask you, as you're about to answer this question, are you prepared on this show to call a powerful black woman a liar?
I'm just saying Jaguar Wright might believe in these things, but they're not true. And just because you believe them doesn't make them true. So does that mean she's a liar? No, it just means she believes something and it's inaccurate. And so how many Grammys does she have? How many MTV Music Awards? How many Billboard Awards? Where is she at? I'm not seeing anything. I'm looking at her.
Why does she need those things?
I'm just saying, huh?
Why does she need those things for credibility?
Credibility in the music industry. I mean, you can say, right, that you are involved with and yes, it's clear.
Hey, Charles, you just came up with a great legal defense for P. Diddy. He can just say, "Hey guys, all these accusers, right? Hey, where are your Grammys? Where are your MTV Music Video Awards? Right?
Well,
you guys don't have any credibility."
Well, I think where that wouldn't stand is that Cassie does actually have a number of awards.
So she's in your mind, she's the only one with credibility. It sounds.
Well, there's literally a video out there for getting beat down at the elevator lobby.
Look, I am not saying that she's lying. I'm just trying to use your logic. What are you drinking, man? It's fucking noon.
Tea.
I bet. Go on.
Do you guys believe Jay-Z has anything to do with this? And what's your proof?
I don't. I have no proof. I have circumstantial evidence. One is what Jaguar Wright has been saying. The other is that Tony Busby said some of the names that they will name are going to be as big as Diddy. That's a select few people in the rap world, don't you think? And the great thing, or let's hope the great thing is, we're going to find out. Busby said he's going to start filing his first lawsuits in 30 days, and they're going to name names. So hopefully we'll find out.
Well, so Charles, I mean, if he says, all right, they're as big as Diddy, maybe your argument would be that Jay-Z is bigger. So who is as big as Diddy? Salt and Peppa? Missy Elliott?
Those are some random, those are very random acts that you just picked.
Eminem?
Cleopatra?
Who?
Cleopatra, coming at you.
Who is that?
Oh, you'll know. You'll look it up after the show. That's a deep cut.
No, I think Usher is probably a name that's as big as Diddy.
Usher? Usher? Is that what you said?
Usher.
Usher. Oh, sorry. I know Usher. It's Usher, by the way.
Usher. Yes, Usher. I think Usher's on that list. Now, that's not to say I think anything happened. I'm just saying in terms of people who are as big as Diddy. Yeah, certainly Usher and Justin Bieber. Now, there is a lot of conversation surrounding Justin Bieber. Victim more than anything. So we don't know. But yeah, Oprah.
Oprah is bigger than Diddy.
No.
What? You don't know? She's not a rapper, but gosh darn, she's bigger than him.
Well, I guess it depends on what we're using as bigger, but I think the same amount of people who know Diddy know Oprah.
No, more people know Oprah. 100% more people know Oprah. Everybody knows who Oprah is. Like age, race, socioeconomic status, all that. Everyone knows who Oprah is. There's a lot of people that don't know who Diddy is. This man behind me probably doesn't know who Diddy is, but he knows who Oprah is.
Oh, he knows who Diddy is.
He knows who Diddy is.
I mean, I'm just talking. Michael, back me up here. More people know Oprah. Oh my God.
More people probably know who Oprah is than Diddy. Probably.
I think that's a hard sell. I don't know if that's the case.
Okay. Well, you're wrong.
But right. Okay. But who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But yes, I think people along those lines. I think that if you were to say Jay-Z, I think more people know who Diddy is in general public than Jay-Z. So if you're talking about people that are as big as
what?
Like general random people, on the street?
No.
Not rap fans? Yes. I would think they would know who Diddy is, but not, I'm not saying everybody, but people who would know who Diddy is might not know who Jay-Z is.
Your perception of fame and who's bigger is so weird. It's Diddy. Oprah's below Diddy. Where is Jay-Z on this threesome?
I would say more average day-to-day people know who Diddy is than Jay-Z.
And Oprah?
Yeah.
And Oprah what?
You are ruining your credibility.
Really? Okay, what would people who don't pay attention to rap music know Jay-Z from?
I mean, Beyonce, for one, but also his rap albums and his Like,
people who don't listen to rap music.
His cultural status. He goes to NBA games.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I think this is a silly argument, but they're all in the same kind of stratosphere in terms of celebrity, aren't they? It's all relative, but Jay-Z's probably, in my opinion, a bigger star than Diddy.
I don't know.
Jay-Z's last album.
Huh?
Maybe this is a good way to look at it. If one of them starred in a movie, right, who would be a bigger draw?
Diddy.
No, Jay-Z by far.
The average person.
Okay, whatever. Go on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens in the next year or so, unless somebody gets suicided in prison before that can happen. So we're gonna move on, unless you guys have more to say about the Diddy stuff.
Nope.
No, I just don't get how you guys can rank these. I mean, listen, I'm Jay-Z's biggest fan, but I just don't see how someone who is walking down the street, average person, doesn't listen to rap music, would know who Jay-Z is.
Michael and I are just more connected to the black community. That's what it comes down to.
How would people that don't listen to rap music know about Diddy?
Because Diddy's produced
produced is the problem.
Justin Bieber, we know Justin Bieber because of Diddy. We know Usher because of Diddy. We know all these people because of Diddy.
None of Bieber's fans are aware that they know Bieber because of Diddy.
What do you mean?
Oh my God. Like, that is like Bieber's average fan is not aware that Diddy gave him his start.
They know that when it's ridiculous.
It's gonna be a good show.
We're off to a good start. Can you let it go, Charles? Mm-hmm. We can move on. Mm-hmm. You sure? Mm-hmm. Okay. Tee up your list, Brad. So
I just don't. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
So Kamala Harris, I think her advisors were like, this basement strategy is not working. So what we're going to do is a full court blitz on a bunch of very friendly podcast, TV news shows. And she goes on The View, Call Her Daddy podcast, 60 Minutes, The Stephen Colbert Show, Howard Stern. And she just does this 1 week media blitz to try to improve her numbers. And it was a shit show. Okay. And Brad's pulling up. I think what happened here was they saw the numbers starting to trend against them because she's hiding, and people in the center who are making up their minds about who to vote for are saying, we want to know who she is, what she stands for, and all she's been able to do. She won the debate, other than win the debate, was kind of speak platitudes to speak in platitudes, not really get into substance. So their thought was, okay, the trend lines are too risky. We can't keep her in the basement. We got to put her out there. We don't have a choice. And I think their fingers were crossed for how it was going to go. And Brad's going to show you how it went.
All right, here we go. Here is Kamala Harris on Stephen Colbert cracking open.
You first became the nominee and named Tim Walz as your vice president nominee. People were calling it the vibe election. All the vibes were all good. Right. But elections, I think, are won on vibes, because one of the old saws is they just want somebody they can have a beer with. Uh-huh. So would you like to have a beer with me so I can tell people what that's like? Okay. This was... Now, we asked ahead of time because I can't just be given a drink to what that's like. Okay.
Look at that smile.
We asked ahead of time because I can't just be given a drink to.
Wait, have y'all seen this?
No, I'm trying to.
What beer does she get? Just guess.
Montucky?
Ugh. Michael?
I have no idea. Coors Light.
The vice president of the United States, without asking, you asked for Miller High Life. You asked for Miller High Life. I'm just curious.
Okay, the last time I had beer was at a baseball game with Doug.
So cheers.
Cheers.
There you go.
She's a Miller High Life girl. Do y'all believe it?
I believe that that's the best beer for her to order in this because of what they're trying to accomplish here.
Well, do you believe that she's a Miller High Life girl?
No.
Okay. Well,
she does like Doritos, so those kind of fit. Miller Lite and Doritos.
Here she is on Howard Stern, number 2.
When you ran for Senate, it was bittersweet, right? You won, which is great. But you said I ate a whole bag of Doritos that night. That's your thing, Doritos?
Oh, I love Doritos. Original nacho. But let me just tell you, it was a family-sized bag.
Wow.
I sat on the couch.
But you're in good shape. Are you like
I work out
nauseated?
every morning.
Did you work out this morning?
I did.
Where did you work out?
On the elliptical at the hotel.
Oh, they bring one up to your room?
Yeah.
Nice. How long do you go on the elliptical?
Half an hour to 45 minutes.
Not a
You're
workout.
not bored out of your skull on that thing?
I'm watching a variety of things. That's how I catch
Morning
up.
Joe?
So, yeah.
He's something,
sometimes,
huh?
yeah.
That Morning Joe.
Uh-huh.
I love that guy.
I do too. Joe Scarborough. Yeah.
A former Republican.
Yes.
He can't vote in his own
But he
party.
loves our country. I don't
He-
agree with him
he
on every
does.
issue, but
I mean, she likes Doritos, family-sized bags like a fucking pig. 1. 2, she works out on an elliptical. This woman cannot be president if she
No.
thinks that 30 minutes on elliptical is a workout. Who is she? Chuck Blain?
30 minutes on the elliptical depends on what your resistance is set at.
Shut up. Oh my God. And then here is Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer feeding I think it's a Dorito to who I believe is Kamala Harris, which is interesting. Very weird.
Great job on this video.
What is this?
Oh,
Okay,
weird.
so I kept seeing this screenshot go around. And I didn't know what that was, and I'm disturbed that that's what that was.
Why
What
did
is
Kamala
that?
Harris do that?
Well, that's not Kamala Harris, but what is that? What is that?
That's not Kamala Harris?
No.
Are you sure?
What
I
is
know
that?
that
It's
you're being
Democrats
funny.
being weirdos.
That's Kamala Harris.
No, it's not.
I mean, that's an Indian woman, right?
But wait, can we
Is
get
it?
off the that's Kamala Harris thing? And what is that? Is that the full clip?
Yeah, it's Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer feeds a chip to a beggar on her knees in an effort to get more votes for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Well, that's the tweeters commentary. And you know, what is it? I don't fucking know. I don't know what Gretchen Whitmer is doing. That lady, you know, oddly, like, is she attractive? I don't know, but she's a weird lady. I
What
think
is
she's got a
strange to
real
me-
dominatrix like vibe to her.
Yeah.
What is strange to me is that, you know, all these things they do, obviously the goal is to get more votes. But how is that pitched to someone that they're like, yeah, let's do that? Like, what does that bring you? Like, I don't.
I mean, it brings Gretchen Whitmer a great deal of joy. There's a
I mean, you
hurricane.
think
There's a
she would do
hurricane.
this.
There's a hurricane in the governor's mansion in Michigan, and it's hyper localized. If you catch my drift.
I don't.
Did you see the new ad that Kamala Harris's campaign came out with?
No.
Let's watch it.
I'm a man.
Is that Charles?
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man.
And I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
I don't think that guy deadlifts 500. Just FYI, I don't think he does.
I mean, it's not that much. Right?
I mean, he's a muscular guy, but he's also like super tall, and he doesn't look like he has strong hips. But whatever.
Carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
He eats a lot more than carburetors for breakfast. That is if you're just listening, that's a big man.
I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
Ooh.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies? Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she
That guy hasn't ever met a woman. For sure.
He kind of looks like you.
What the fuck
Go
did you
ahead.
say?
has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough
I mean, he's full throating something, but it is not endorsements of women.
to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight.
This is God.
Okay, wait,
Rob,
is that
I
an
got-
actual commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
No, it isn't.
I mean, I
So-
don't tell
Paid
you.
for by who?
I mean, I don't know. This is from Tim Pool. He says, "Holy fuck! It's like Kamala has never met a man before." This Kamala,
There's no way they picked those people to be in an actual commercial.
they're
No, so
very relatable.
This validates my current theory. Trump's going to win, and the reason is the Democratic Party and their elite are so incredibly out of touch with the American people that this is serious. They're serious. Like they think that this stuff is working.
That can't be serious. Like that can't.
I think it is. I think they're serious. Like let's get a bunch of paid actors to talk a script and try to make it seem genuine, and we'll try to be funny, none of which was funny. And they're just so out of touch that they think that this is persuasive.
I mean, you can get paid actors, but those are the paid actors you picked. You paid those people.
I think it's persuasive to like Democrat men.
I don't think it can't be.
I think it is. I think that's progressive to like maybe Democrat men who don't need to be persuaded, to be honest, obviously, but maybe they have some sort of like inkling of like this country is really going like south. I got to support my family. Maybe I should vote for Trump. And they see something like this, and like, yeah, I too do full-throated things, right? And then there's there's also maybe like left-leaning independents, right? Maybe they're like, I'm also a fat pig, right? And I too eat carburetors for breakfast. I can vote for Kamala.
Okay, calling someone a fat pig is not nice.
I don't care. Neither is voting for Kamala Harris.
I can't. I
disagree.
just can't imagine. I don't think I've met anyone who would watch that commercial and be like, "Yeah, that's convincing."
No.
I really do not think I've met anyone.
I'm gonna test that commercial on some friends who are kind of middle or left. I don't think so. I think this is Biden political operatives creating what they think is a persuasive ad, and it's not going to land with anyone because it's ridiculous. Where
It's almost
Trump,
as ridiculous as calling Peter Todd Satoshi Nakamoto.
that's true.
Are you gonna like explain that to anybody or
No.
okay?
I'm glad you got the name right though this time.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Good. It was the first thing that came to mind.
Did you watch that documentary?
No.
Oh
Did you, Michael?
no, I
No.
don't got time. I haven't had time for that.
I did go down a deep dive, and I did find out that Satoshi Nakamoto's last email said, "Here are the keys. I'm going to be going away for a while."
How did you confirm that that's
Do
his last email or
Because-
from him?
Mark Andreessen, not Mark Andreessen. Somebody Andreessen said it. And that was the guy who was closest to Satoshi.
So someone just has to say something and you believe it, unless it's Jaguar.
Blain.
This person was the only one Satoshi communicated with on a regular basis.
How do you know that?
Huh?
It's a black woman. How do you know that? Because they said
we
so.
have the documentation.
I don't know, man. But Trump, in contrast, Trump is put out an ad for Kamala Harris or against Kamala Harris, and it's just what she said on The View. Have you guys seen that clip?
I haven't seen it. You want me to try to pull it up, or do you have it?
I think I have it. It may take me a second, so you can talk about it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. She went on The View. You got it already? Okay. Woo.
She went on The View.
Whoopi Goldberg
And-
looks good. Am I right, guys?
Sure.
What?
All right, you can see that.
Yes.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Yeah. Would you have?
I mean, such a bad answer.
Which blows my mind that they set her up for a series of very softball interviews and cannot better prepare her with an answer to that question.
I mean, even if you think that Biden has done a great job, right? And I think, she's the vice president. So of course she's going to say, yeah, he's been doing great. Like you still think oh, we could have done better on this, right?
Yeah.
Like Inflation Reduction Act. Like, yeah, I really wish we could have gone a little bit further with that, but those darn Republicans, right? They're so weird. Like, I mean, just anything. But like, no, it was perfect. Biden's a perfect.
And Trump's clipped that thing, and the Trump team says you're going to see that nonstop on the airwaves between now and Election Day. And all it is that clip, and then says, this message is approved by Donald Trump. That's it. That's the whole ad.
Pretty good ad.
Ads are getting less creative.
Charles, why do you got to be so cynical, man?
It says it all, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
Look how angry he got.
I wasn't angry. But I think, listen, does it say it all? I think that's to be determined. What'll determine that is the outcome on November 5th. I think it's a really bad answer. She should have a better answer for that this far into the cycle. But I don't know. What can you say if you guys were in her shoes? What would you say that wouldn't, one, throw his administration that she's a part of under the bus, and two, would reassure people that you would be better than his administration? What issue would you pick?
I mean,
easy. I'm not Joe Biden, which he likes to say a lot. And I support a lot of what the president has done, and I've helped him to achieve many great things that we've accomplished. The Inflation Reduction Act, the infrastructure plan. However, I don't adhere to the Senate rules like he does. I would drop when we had control of both chambers, I would have dropped the filibuster and enshrined Roe v. Wade as national law.
You don't think that would fire people up against her?
It's the most winning issue that they have.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that a genuine question? I mean, you don't think that abortion is their biggest, like, winningest issue? There are people literally voting for her just because.
Yes.
Which answer was better, Charles? Michael doing Kamala Harris, I need more hand movements, or her answer?
Yours, far better, far better.
And I just came up with that off the cuff. So what is she doing? It further solidifies my belief that they are so incredibly out of touch that they don't know how to communicate with the American people, and they actually think this is going to work.
It could also be that Kamala is just that bad. Like, they've coached her and she just doesn't, like, listen.
Well, also they have to balance the fact that there are people who are upset that they pushed Joe Biden out of the race, that they didn't actually hold a primary, and that they just crowned her the nominee. So she can't trash him too much.
Are there people on the left that care about that?
Yeah.
I don't see it at all.
Joe Biden.
I see it every day when I go talk to them.
Joe Biden's pissed about it.
About that.
Yeah, Joe Biden's pissed at her and pissed at Obama because Obama did this to him twice. There are Joe Biden Democrats who are very upset about this, and they're like, whatever, I got to still vote for her. But
speaking of Obama, what's that picture behind you?
Which one?
Speaking of Biden's riff with her, it's a good transition. Did you see Biden held a press conference and was praising Ron DeSantis for his response to Hurricane Milton, and Kamala Harris is very angry at him because she has been trying to call Ron DeSantis for the last week to talk to him about his response to the hurricane, and he has not returned his call or her call. He went on Fox News and was like, why would I? She hasn't cared about a single storm we've had in the past 4 years since she's been vice president. She's all of a sudden calling me now. Like, what can she do for me? The reason I'm not calling her back is because she has no role. And the Harris people are very mad at Biden for what? Not saying you need to call Ron DeSantis back?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I could see why they would be upset, because they're going to get upset at anything that Biden does over the next couple of weeks. But also, he's the president, and, like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Like, at the same time, like, if he doesn't call, then the Republicans and everybody else is going to use that to attack Democrats. So, like, what do you want? What do you want him to do? Just, like, be MIA and let that attack happen? Or do you want him to at least, like, extend an olive branch to the, I don't know, how many people live in Florida? 10 million.
More than 10 million, I think.
20 million? I don't know. To all the people in Florida who, 22 million, who need help right now. I mean, I don't know what you expect. That's the problem with her campaign and with his not his campaign, but with kind of the Biden camp as a whole, is that they look at each other and just get mad at every little thing. And I haven't seen Biden out there campaigning for Kamala. Have you?
I haven't seen Biden.
Yeah, I think he's pissed. And who's going to be more happy and more vindicated on November 6th if Kamala loses to Trump? than Biden.
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey B.
Joey B.
Joe Byron.
So that, but anyways, we wanted to talk about the hurricane. I've seen all the pictures and videos, like some of those videos that have been taken from street corners, watching the winds and the rains. It's been crazy, just huge devastation. I have friends that had to flee. First thing, go find a charity. Don't give money to Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Give money to people in Florida who need it. Like right now, there's a bunch of good charities you can go to, but I haven't seen any death toll. There were something like 100 hurricane warnings because the winds were so fast they created hurricanes. It was just complete devastation. What have you guys heard?
There was a double tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was devastating. I think the thing is, though, the reason we're not seeing those crazy death toll numbers is because Florida did an amazing job of telling people to evacuate well in advance. And they did. I know when I was driving out here to South Carolina, the amount of traffic that I saw on I-10 and then on 95 coming north was insane. And this was, kind of in the midst of it. But they did an amazing job of getting people out of the harm's way within due time. And I think that's the only reason we see pure kind of economic devastation and not loss of life, because that would have been tragic. And I don't know, we'd be having a very different conversation today had that happened.
What do y'all think about the rule when there's a hurricane like this that they can't price gouge at gas stations?
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been back and forth on this issue. I used to really hate it because I was like, listen, free market, which I genuinely do believe is the answer to many of our problems. But I also see how bad it can be at times. And they do really there's price gouging and then there's what some of these people do, which is like absurd. And if you can't afford to evacuate because you can't afford to get gas, like that's a problem. Now, is government stepping in? I don't know. I bounce back and forth because we have like our I don't want to call him progressive, but our progressive Harris County county attorney who prosecutes price gouging, and we have Ken Paxton who prosecutes price gouging. And so both sides of the spectrum here. And so I kind of bounce back and forth on it, but ultimately we know that adjusting prices is how you maintain scarce resources.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Like you can't afford to get out because of price gouging, but then again, you also can't get gas because the person in front of you took it all because it was cheap.
Yeah.
Michael, you want to chime in?
Man, I'm torn on this one too. It's hard. I think if measures could be put in place by the government that would be effective to limit price gouging, I could be for that in an emergency situation like this. Every time the government tries to fix a problem, they make it worse. So in theory, I'm for it. In practice, I'd have to see how it played out. But yeah, I mean, charging people $1,000 for a hotel room for a night that they can't afford, that shouldn't be happening.
Okay. Interesting.
But I also say that, and I wholeheartedly agree. And this is the reason that I bounce back and forth on it.
Almost 45, Charles.
We could be like people, and we could just reject these companies that do that, right? Collectively, we could say, Hilton, you did this, we're not coming, but we don't do that. Like we don't exercise our collective power in that way very often. Sometimes we do, but most of the time we don't. So if we did, I think that would be a better solution to the problem. But unfortunately, we are who we are.
Plus, even if we did that, it wouldn't help people in the immediate situation. It might help them longer term to put pressure on the hotels or whomever to not do it in the future. But for the person who's like got their family and $100 and needs somewhere to stay, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, you're exactly right, Michael. You're exactly right.
Charles, when you say you bring up Hilton, like, hey, we should collectively, boycott Hilton or whatever, right? I think, is this Hilton's response to that? Is Paris Hilton wearing a Stop Being Poor shirt? Okay, you guys are a lot of fun.
That was hilarious.
Doesn't have to be hilarious. Just please clap.
No, but I mean, yeah, that is like ultimately what the response is from these companies. It's like, stop being poor. If you had the money, you'd be able to do it. And that's obviously that's not a good answer. So I don't know what the right answer is, unfortunately. I guess it's to ban price gouging. But again, like I said, we have people on both sides of the spectrum who do it.
Yeah.
Both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
The spectrum?
Who fight price gouging.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. What are you doing, Charles?
What? Okay, so do we have any more topics left to go?
No, hold on. How did you get that? How did you time? What is that? What are you trying to do there behind you?
What am I doing? What? I don't
What is
understand.
this?
Is that Brad Swail? And
Smelling his. Oh, never mind.
smelling his.
Funny?
Is that Brad Swail and what's his name? Dick Cheney. There you go. Dick Cheney.
Our guest is in the waiting room.
Yes. Okay. Do we have any more topics, or is that it?
Well, that's it. We're not gonna keep her waiting.
Okay. Well, as everyone said, so for our anniversary episode, our 52-week episode, we have a special guest today. Our special guest is the chairwoman of the Harris County delegation of our state legislative delegation, and she is the vice chair of the GOP caucus for the Texas House, and it is State Representative Lacey Hall.
Hello, Representative Hall.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Happy 52 weeks.
Thank you.
It's our 1 year anniversary, so we're very
1 year
No
anniversary.
thanks to these two knuckleheads. It's all me. I promise.
We did a hat giveaway at the beginning that you missed, so that's okay. I mean, you weren't supposed to be here anyway, but that's fine. Yes,
I'd like a hat.
Well, go retweet our tweet. You might be able to win it.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason that Lacey is here today is because she's been leading the charge on this really interesting case. There's a guy named Robert Robertson. Now, if you Google him, like at this very time, you need to be careful because apparently, and Lacey, I don't know if you know this, there's a guy named Robert Robertson who is a former Harris County constable who just got found guilty for something else.
Oh.
And so when I was
Googling
it, and it literally happened like last week or this week.
Oh,
no, but that is not who we are discussing today.
No,
No. Robert Robertson, who is facing execution on October 17th. And I'll let you tell the story of why he's facing execution and kind of where you step in on this. But you've been all over the place lately talking about this issue. Dr. Phil, I can't wait to see that. All over the media. I've seen, AP report on this, ABC, all the news outlets. So it's become a really big issue, and it spans the Republican spectrum. We have, everybody kind of speaking out against this from, well, I'm not going to say names, but everybody on the spectrum is speaking out about this because it's unjust. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about Robert Robertson and why you felt the need to get involved?
Yeah, so Robert is what I believe to be a wonderful, innocent person. I went to death row and was able to visit him and spend some time with him a couple weeks ago. Truly an incredible experience. He's a 57-year-old autistic man who is on death row and was convicted for killing his 2-year-old. They said it was shaken baby. Everything that I have seen, I don't believe that to be the case. There are numerous other explanations, including the little girl's illness, multiple illnesses, viral and bacterial pneumonia, medications given by doctors that explain her injuries and why she died, and her short fall out of bed. All of these things explain the injuries that she had. But in the hospital, they did not take any of that into consideration. And at the time, Robert was not diagnosed with autism. Nobody knew. And so the way he presented and unable to explain the situation properly, and just kind of his neutral, like absent of emotions, made him seem to the hospital and to police that he was guilty. But that was not the case. He just has autism. And so
this was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 2002, right?
Yes, this was the end of 2002. Yes, I'm sorry, the beginning of 2002. Yes. Okay, yeah. And so the little girl was also not a baby. She was 2 and a few months. And what you would see with shaken baby are neck injuries as well. And that was not present. And so there's just a lot. And again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge or a jury. What I've seen, and the problem is we see this all the time. We see this. I'm on the Human Services Committee. We deal with CPS and we deal with these CAPS doctors. Those are child abuse pediatricians. And we see it all the time. Innocent parents. I've heard hours and hours of testimony of innocent parents who have been wrongfully convicted of child abuse and medical child abuse or Munchausen. This happens all the time. And so even though there is a lot of new scientific evidence pointing to all of these different things that could have caused Nikki, that's Robert's daughter's, injuries that led to her death, none of that has ever properly been heard in any court setting. It never has. And so that is where we're calling and hoping for the board grants clemency because he deserves a new trial. He has not had that. And so that's what we are asking for. He needs a new fair trial. So all of this proper and new scientific evidence can be properly heard. He's never really had a real defense. He never has. And so that is what we are asking for.
And you guys, just to be clear, because I've been seeing so much commentary on Twitter, you guys aren't necessarily saying that he's innocent. You're not saying you want to get rid of the death penalty. You might believe that, but what you want right now is for him to get a fair trial.
Right. Yes. I mean, I get involved in these cases. I only get involved when I believe the person is innocent. So I do believe Robert is innocent, but I'm not saying just let him out.
Right.
I believe he deserves a fair trial, which I then believe the jury would see everything that we all have seen. It's just no one has ever properly heard any of this. Even the lead detective on the case who originally thought Robert was guilty and, was arresting Robert, testifying against Robert in the initial trial. He even believes that Robert is innocent, and he is helping and trying to get the word out to help stop this execution and get Robert a new trial. There was we have a new update. The Court of Criminal Appeals has, we just got word, has denied all relief that Robert Robertson has applied for. The Court of Criminal Appeals has denied it all. And so there are several Republican members asking, including myself, asking for, so I've seen Jeff Leach, Brian Harrison, myself, Kronda Timich, I believe Nate Schatzline, there's several. So across, you have our caucus really coming together on this and saying that this man deserves a new trial. But we are calling for Chairman Moody, so the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee, to convene and hold a hearing on this, because this is absolutely ridiculous that this is what the Court of Criminal Appeals did when the day before, so 2 days ago, they did grant a new trial for the man's name is Rourke, a very similar shaken baby case. And they granted it and issued an opinion. And the Court of Criminal Appeals with the Robert Robertson's case has denied it, and there's no opinion.
Now, I have a question, because you're talking about the former lead detective. I think his name is Brian Wharton. Who, investigated this, helped arrested him, did all the testimony and stuff like that. I mean, if that's the guy that's saying like, hey, maybe we made a mistake, we should go back and do a fair trial, it seems like that would hold quite a bit of weight, but it doesn't. And maybe it's procedural or something like that. I'm not an attorney. Maybe Michael can weigh in. He's an attorney, I think. That just seems, I would think that the lead investigator, I mean, if anybody's opinion matters, it's his.
You would think, and he is trying his hardest. And there are other in the medical community that are trying to help in the forensic science and all of these things, all of that. People in those types of fields who know this and know, autopsies and all of these things, they are trying to help and get the word out, and just no one is listening.
Yeah. Where is the prosecutor on this? Is he opposing what you guys are advocating for? Yeah, that's typical. Who has the power to decide essentially this man's life at this point? Who has that authority?
Well, I mean, there's several different avenues, or I guess a couple. I mean, the Court of Criminal Appeals could have granted a new trial. So we are waiting for the Board of Pardons and Parole's recommendation, because our governor cannot act until the board makes their recommendation, and so that's what we are waiting for. Robert's execution is scheduled for the 17th, so that is next Thursday.
Wow!
And so we are waiting.
And I keep, again, going back to some of the commentary I see on Twitter. People just keep talking about things and how innocent people aren't executed and stuff. But in Texas, and these are just rough estimates. But I Googled, and they've executed 20 people. Well, I'm sorry, 20 people have been freed from death row after wrongful convictions. Close to 10 or 10 have been executed despite strong evidence of innocence. And so, even in these instances where there's a glimmer, like whether it's a glimmer or whether it's like a huge shining light of innocence, you would think that they would press pause, because you cannot reverse something. I mean, you just cannot. It's not something you can do. Once you make that decision, that's it. And because we've made mistakes before, I'm sure mistakes have been made in every state before when it comes to executing an innocent person. You would think people would take pause and at least reassess. I mean, what's the harm in granting a new trial? That's what I don't understand.
Right. I mean, Texans deserve to know that our justice system is just and is working, and we are not executing innocent people, whether no matter where you stand on the death penalty, but especially fellow people who are proponents of the death penalty. We should all want to know that, again, that Texas is getting it right and that we are not executing innocent people. And it is pretty astonishing to me that, again, with all of this new scientific information, that I guess that they aren't listening and that they are not granting a new trial. And so, a lot of us are saying, grant him a new trial. And if all of this new evidence is heard and he's still found guilty, I don't believe that's possible, but okay then. Again, I'm not a judge, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not the jury, but I know everything that I have seen with this case. I know what I have seen in a lot of other cases. I know what we see all the time with these CAPS doctors. And also, the CAPS doctor in Robertson's case is the exact same one that was in the Rourke case that is getting a new trial. It's the same one.
Oh, wow. Well, so, and I think it's interesting, particularly for conservatives, because we often question government. We question whether that's, the courts.
We're supposed to.
Right? We're supposed to.
Yes.
But yet, when it comes to instances like this, we just not we, I don't, but some people just buy it, and they're like, "This is it." The jury has decided, and there's nothing else. No new evidence is going to change my mind. And same thing with the parental rights aspect of it. We've all heard stories of people going to the doc. I mean, as a kid, I've gone to the doctor and might have had a bruise, and they're like, "Did anything happen?" And like those things happen all the time. And you might have an overly concerned or maybe an overly zealous doctor who's like, "There's something there, and I'm going to pursue this. And then you get someone like Robert Robertson who's caught up, who just might not have the social skills that are societally accepted that would clear him in that instance. And that's just such a crazy thing that someone can get caught up in.
Definitely. And also the resources. So it takes resources. You don't have rights if you don't know about them. And so that's just the reality. And so if you don't have resources to hire a good attorney, you have no idea. Yeah. And so he was completely led astray by his awful original attorney. He is an amazing attorney now, but in the beginning he did not. And it's also really important to mention that the hospital is the one who removed life support of Robert's daughter, Nikki. Robert did not want life support removed, and Robert did not consent to the removal of life support for his daughter. The hospital removed life support within 24 hours. And it's still very confusing as to who consented, because even though we've extended the 10-day rule, I believe it's 21 days now. At the time, there was still the 10-day rule, and they did not wait 10 days, and they didn't get the state's consent. They didn't go through that legal process, and Robert did not consent. So who consented to the removal of that little girl's life support? That is also a significant problem.
Are there not records of that? Or are they missing? Or
Well, that's interesting. A lot of records did go missing. Even her brain scans that were later found a decade later in the basement of the courthouse during the appeals process. I believe that was 2016. I might be getting my dates wrong. But then the experts were not technically allowed on testifying on all of it. So that's why when we talk about all of this medical evidence that has never truly been heard, those are some of the things that that we are talking about. So instead of, the brain scans that could possibly be exculpatory evidence being talked about in court, it was autopsy pictures of a 2-year-old's skull cut in half, which who wouldn't be moved by that? That is horrifying.
Yeah.
So it's things like that took place during this process. And there's so many different reasons, and I could keep going on and on, but that's why we're saying is he just needs a new fair trial.
Yeah.
Well,
based on everything you've said here, it's hard to imagine that a jury could find with beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the standard, that he committed the murder. Might be taking us on a tangent, but one thing that stands out to me, I saw your Instagram post when you were meeting with him, and friend of the show and friend of mine, Representative Ellen Troxclair, gave you clapping hands, and she's been not as vocal as you have been about this, but supportive. And you mentioned Jeff Leach and some others. There seems to be a generational divide in the Republican Party about people who are willing to speak out on issues like this. The younger folks like yourself and Representative Troxclair seem to be more, I don't want to say it brave, but more
vocal,
because people could be vocal about this. And that seems to be a good development, because my perception of the broader issue of the death penalty is one innocent life taken takes away from any justice that was served on guilty people. So we gotta get this right.
Definitely. And I'll say, again, even within our caucus, it's the majority of Republicans still believe in the death penalty. And so you still have the majority of Republicans that signed on to this letter for Robert who still believe in the death penalty. They just don't want to see an innocent person, a possibly innocent person, executed. And so whether you see this range across our caucus, but yes, we do have a lot of younger members who are standing up on this issue. But even we had some other members like Charlie Guerin, who he came to our press conference on it, and he is a strong proponent of the death penalty, and he stood right up there with the rest of us because, again, he agrees that if Robert's possibly innocent, we shouldn't be executing him, and he deserves a new fair trial. So you have this range across all these members of the House and their reasons for why they signed on. But parental rights issues with autism and the disability rights issues, or just believing that he could be innocent. Just numerous different reasons as to why people signed on and are standing up for Robert.
Well, I think the message here is that, if there's any doubt, we especially conservatives should be willing to press pause and ask questions and demand more information and another trial. Because what is the harm in doing another trial? I think the harm in doing and killing a potentially innocent person far outweighs any cost of another trial. And so it's crazy. Thank you for your advocacy on that. Is there anything people can do? Should they be writing to someone? Is there a fund they could donate to? What can people do to support the efforts to help him out if they so choose, or to help other potentially innocent people who are facing execution?
Well, right now we're just waiting for the Board of Pardons and Paroles to make their recommendation, and then the governor if it comes down to that, then the governor would then have to decide what to do with the board's recommendation. So whether it's writing letters to the board, to the governor, just spreading the message as much as possible and talking about Robert's case, that's what you can do. We're hopeful to be able to have this hearing, that Chair Moody will call a hearing very soon, obviously before Robert's execution date on the 17th, and we will see. So anyone that can support any of those measures would be great.
For sure. Well, we will definitely spread the word, and we'll help calling for a hearing on this because it's incredibly important. Thank you so much for taking the time to inform us about this. Thank you for your efforts in this area. And, moving forward, if there's anything that we can do to help, please let us know.
I will, definitely. And you guys can also, anyone that's listening, follow along with the Innocence Project because they are helping a lot on Robert's case.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Representative Hall. This was great.
Y'all.
Thank you.
So much.
you.
And happy 1 year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome. That's really great. Yeah. I think, I would love to help out with that, especially hopefully they call a new hearing so that he can have his case reheard. One innocent person is one too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want them all guilty. Right, Charles?
Well, since this is our 52-week episode anniversary, maybe
blow right past me, huh?
Yeah.
It's good that we're ending on, it's not a positive note, but we're ending on asking people to do a positive thing, which is to reach out, maybe to Chairman Moody, maybe to the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and let them know that, whether or not you think he's innocent, he deserves another trial, with the proper resources and with the updated evidence and all the things that we've come to learn over the past 2 years of his incarceration.
Something like 84 representatives, House members, a ton of 84 signed a letter to the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and it just got ignored. That's kind of
well, they haven't made a recommendation yet.
They just said, I guess the Court of Appeals.
Court of Appeals. Yeah, but you would think that if 84 sign on for the Board of Pardons and Paroles, the Court of Appeals would take notice of that too and be like, maybe there is something worth looking at here. But
it's very hard to overturn a prior conviction, just generally.
Michael knows from experience.
I could tell you a story from a law office I interned in college. It's very difficult to overturn a previous conviction. So that's why I'm not shocked that the Court of Appeals didn't give him a new trial. It's sometimes people's only hope is a change in law that gives them an opportunity to get out or executive action, unfortunately. And is Charles frozen?
Oh, look at that.
That's a great way to end the show.
What is he about to do? Is he about to spit water at us? Blow a kiss?
I don't know.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
It's a good picture.
I don't know.
Can you make that face? What's he doing?
All right. That's a good way to end the show. Charles is already out. Thank you for tuning into the BCM podcast. We'll be on for another year. Tune in next week. Have a great weekend.
Win a hat. Tweet this shit.
Oh yeah. Retweet it. Win a hat.
I'm gonna end stream.
Thank you.
End it. You're welcome. It's still going.